The stats are staggering. Last year, more Americans died of a drug overdose than died in the Vietnam and Iraq wars combined. That is more than 64,000 people gone in 1 year. Lynda Kinkade talked to two families living in the same suburban Atlanta neighborhood who lost their teenage sons on the same day, just hours apart. Here are their stories.
We wanted to have two children because we wanted them to have each other. And now Matthew's an only child. I'll never be the person I was.
18-year-old Dustin Manning and 19-year-old Joseph Abraham had so much potential.
Those are his football trophies are up there.
It was in a great place.
Joe was a very sensitive young man. He was funny. He had a big heart.
It was May 26, a Friday morning. Paramedics were called to this house at 6:09 a.m. Dustin Manning was dead. Less than an hour later, half a mile that way, the same situation.
Started yelling and yelling and yelling. Joe, wake up, man. Come on, man.
As I walked through that door, it was just almost surreal. He was on 911 on the phone call. I just came back to him and I said, we can't fix this.
When I opened the door, he was crouched over on his bed. It looked like he was tying his shoes almost.
I went over to him. And I touched him and he was cold.
Dave and Kathi Abraham and Greg and Lisa Manning share the same pain. Their families torn apart. Their sons, teammates in Little League, both started dabbling in drugs in middle school. What drove him, do you think, to the drugs?
He told us that the drugs was what gave him the out. It made him not feel whatever the depression was making him feel.
We're giving these opiates to kids who are getting their wisdom teeth out. Before they know it, they're addicted.
Both sets of parents got their sons into treatment centers. The night before they died, Dustin was at a treatment meeting while Joe was at a friend's place.
So just to be clear, the boys weren't out together the night before, but it appears that they may have bought these drugs by the same dealer.
Exactly.
Yes.
So it looked like the same pill, essentially, the same wrapping.
Yes.
Yes.
Toxicology reports found both teens ingested a toxic mix of heroin and fentanyl, which can be lethal in small doses.
Do you know how much fentanyl it took to kill him? Just explain it for us.
Well, according to the coroners, the amount that was in his system was about 3 grains of salt.
That's it.
The equivalent of that.
And it happened pretty quickly.
He said within about 20 to 30 seconds after he sniffed it, he was gone.
This is happening to middle-class America. I never thought that I'd never get to see him grow old. You know, it's not the natural order of things. And that's been a real hard pill to swallow.
I'm just in shock of how little the amount was found in their system, and Lynda is here with me. We hear about the numbers and the statistics, but this is a real family, neighbors, childhood friends dying just an hour apart. When did this happen, Lynda?
This happened just 5 months ago this week, Susan. And I have to say there was not a dry eye in the room as these parents record finding their teenage boys on the ground dead in their room. It happened so quickly. And for me, it struck a chord as a new mother. I can imagine in 10 years' time having to deal with a child that is dabbling with drugs, not thinking that it could get out of control this quickly. Kathi Abraham was telling me she was in tears when President Trump was talking about the opioid crisis. And they said it's a welcome step, but it doesn't release additional funds. And more funds is needed. As you've been reporting today, 64,000 Americans died last year from opioids. Yes. That's more than the number killed by guns, more than the number killed in car accidents.
And it's someone's son, someone's brother, someone's friend, as we saw in this piece. What do they want to happen? What do they think needs to happen?
They're hoping for three things. They want education to start earlier for kids. They want treatment centres to offer longer programs. These boys were kicked out after 35 days. You need longer to kick an addiction. And they want tougher punishment for drug dealers, especially dealers that are selling fentanyl, which is 50 times stronger than heroin, and it can kill in an instant. We know just 3 years ago, 3,000 Americans died from fentanyl. Last year, it was more than 20,000.
Wow. It's an important story, Lynda. Thank you so much. So devastating for those families. We certainly are thinking about you and hoping that more is done about this. Lynda, thank you. And if you know someone who is addicted to opioids and want help, need help, you can find a list of resources on drug abuse treatment options at cnn.com/impact.